All right, so we're going to jump into Avalanche today, a little bit about what is happening at Korea Blockchain Week and why this might make sense to you and why it's going to be important to you as you start to look at really going into projects like Avalanche over the long term. We're going to get into all this good stuff today. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, iTrust Capital. If you're looking at long-term holdings, you want to invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum, and you want to do it in a crypto IRA, you can do it with iTrust. Very easy to do. You can also get into precious metals, gold, silver, all that good stuff. Very low fees on your actual trades, but no monthly fees. So that's the cool part. If you use our link below, you will get a $100 funding reward. So it's very easy. All you have to use is that link, and it helps the channel out. Try it out, see what you guys think. Let me know in the comments too, because as I said, we always love to get feedback from people who are using some of our sponsor stuff. All right, let's go into a few things here. I'll lead off here with Avalanche opening their pop-up at the event, which was happening in Seoul during the Korean Blockchain Week. And this was all happening right before, so don't think there was nobody there. It's just all right there before the event started. But the cool aspect of this is that it was Avalanche putting on a pretty dynamic event. Now, I want to play a clip for you to go into a little bit about what the Korean Blockchain Week is. Listen in.
Is this what you expected?
You're seeing today we have 2,000 registrants, and so that's way over capacity, which is a really good thing. The KBW energy is kind of transferring over to us. We're, I believe, the second biggest event, second to the conference this week.
I can confirm that. I've been around, so I can definitely confirm
cool, okay.
that.
I was like, packed. I'm pretty sure we are, but I wasn't
this is
totally
packed.
Sure.
This is packed.
I think culturally speaking, Koreans, at least relative to the Western world, is a little bit more conservative. I think the community that we're seeing, especially in the States, isn't really the same type of community, not in any better or worse way by any means, but it's just different, right? And so the first 2 years was really like underdog story, no one believes in us, and then really trying to find our stride. So we're finding our stride a lot in enterprises, especially with Ava Cloud. We also have gaming, so it takes a lot of time to build a proper game, so we're gonna see that come through probably the next few months or even next year or so. And then also NFTs as it relates to art. And so kind of all this stuff converges into one Web3 unit.
So that obviously was one of the Avalanche team kind of giving some explanation of the amount of growth that they've done in a fairly short period of time. Another thing that is happening is Avalanche's move into the institutional space. Here's a tweet by Anthony Scaramucci. Very impressed with Avalanche's team and customizable infrastructure. Not surprised it's catching on in the institutional community there. Great presentation from John Nahas, which we've had on the show before. If you guys want to check out some of our Avalanche videos, go back and check out John's video that we did. I think it was one of our most recent ones. But all this happening there at Korea Blockchain Week. And again, this market is one of those that is exploding in innovation. And the reason it's important is because as we look at the evolution of gaming and you look at how Web3 will take place, a lot of these hot centers like Korea and within the Pacific Rim are going to be some of the pretty much the leaders around the world, and I think Avalanche will, of course, play a big role in this. If you look at this piece right here, just kind of showcase a little bit about how long it takes projects to kind of get moving, but enterprise blockchain projects typically undergo 4 main stages in initial exploration. I would say most companies out there using it today are at that stage, proof of concept, and then pilot trial, and then in production. So you're talking about 25 months there. You can kind of see it right there on the right-hand side of the slide there from the University of Cambridge. Point being is that this all takes time. However, we've had about 18 months of a bear market here where a lot of projects like Avalanche have been building. So on their Twitter account or X account, the momentum in Asia continues to, as more subnet launches are cooking up. On Avalanche, you've got Japanese gourmet food app, Sarah, which brings 2 million active users. This is a pretty big app in Japan. Now, you look at that market along with other ideas around where these markets are going and the kind of concepts that are starting to utilize things and projects like Avalanche, you're going to start to see more use cases come to light. And I think this is just a good example of one of them. Let's go over to another one, which is Pata. I've got a clip for this one. Listen in.
It's very exciting because there's 100 million users on this this application and 280,000 merchants that are interacting with this. So this is the challenge for us, to take Web3 technology and truly scale it into what enterprise needs to fully adopt Web3, to fully buy into that the technical capabilities can meet the needs of their customers.
All right, so again, this is another major company within Asia that is doing something in the loyalty and marketing sector, a company called Panta, Loyalty Rewards Subnet. This is going to be a new Web3 ecosystem for 100 million plus existing users right now, accounts in Japan. So again, this is another major company that's moving into partnering with companies and projects like what Avalanche is doing. The other thing that gets into this, and I think this is something that you have to really kind of consider, the fact that Avalanche has been building in this, this downturn, and they continue to make these partnerships. They're continuing to focus on some of these emerging markets that are, when I say emerging markets, in Web3 emerging markets, which are initially looked at as some of the biggest markets in gaming and other aspects of the industries that are out there that Avalanche is trying to plug into. This is another clip I want to show you that talks about the Blitz app, and I'll show you what that is here in a second, but watch this clip.
Welcome everybody. Avalanche House Seoul. Come on, you see this? You see this right here? Well, Avalanche, that's a Web3 company. It's Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike's not a Web3 game. Shut up. Blitz App. Have this Web3 integration with one of the biggest games of all time in the history of mankind, Counter-Strike. You see, I can go and do tournaments through this and win prizes with Web3 tokens powered by, wait for it, Avalanche.
All right, so again, blitz.gg, you can take a look at their website, but the point is you got mainstream gaming starting to move into this for things like influencer tournaments, things of that nature that'll play into this. Again, all this being powered by Avalanche. So they're definitely on the forefront here. Further into this, it talks a little bit about the partnership. TSM and Blitz will also use Core to power all user payments and to store, sell, and purchase digital assets. If you guys have not seen our video on Core, which is how Avalanche ties all this together, go check that out. Do your homework on that. But this is Core's website. Just go to core.app. You can learn a little bit more about this. Now, Avalanche does not pay us. They're not a sponsor of our show. We just follow this project very closely, and we're looking at some of the key things that they're doing that continue to move in the right directions. I want to go further into this back on the Avalanche Twitter account. Multiswap's UX, especially easy for traders and LPs to swap multiple tokens. Remember, as we start to see this go into institutional scenarios, this is going to be a great function. One of the things that they've done within this, and you'll probably appreciate this if you guys have probably run in this before, is you can go in and compile a whole slew of different types of tokens. Imagine you might own 25, 30 tokens, and you want to convert that all at once. You can now do kind of these bundling conversions. So this is available now within the Avalanche ecosystem. Other news, Korean game publisher Neowiz also now a partner with Avalanche. So Neowiz does a lot in this space. A couple of points I want to hit on here that's in the article. In Q2 of 2023, let me kind of zoom in on that a little bit. Neowiz notched 51 million in revenue. Remember, this is a Korean game maker. Neowiz is one of the fourth of the top 100 game companies by market cap, although also aligning with Avalanche. The other three, Alibaba, Tencent, and Gree, are also in East Asia. And then 70% of the top 100 gaming companies are based in Asia, and that Korean companies are at the forefront of developing blockchain games. Again, back to what we've talked about many times, this is a very heated market in the sense that we're seeing a lot of innovation. It reminds me a lot of Silicon Valley, when you think about it, back in the early 2000s when there were just so many projects and companies that were developing, and the big ones end up being the winners that come out of that. So I think that is definitely going to be the case here with what they're doing. Top of the charts here on trending games in the Epic Game Store. Look what we have right there, Nexus. We kind of zoom in on that just to show you how this is really kind of translating to the mainstream gaming ecosystem. And again, this is just when you look at Web3 and you think about what projects are going to be the breakouts, what parts of the world are going to be the hot centers of use case and application and utility. That's where we get into watching what's happening, of course, here in Asia. Let's take a look at another clip here. It gets into the Nexus a little bit more about what it is. Listen in. All right, so you just kind of see here, Epic Games Store, trifecta, well done to the whole team at Nexus there. 20,000 people who have downloaded so far. So this is good. Good stuff here overall. All right, so this tweet right here just shows Beam, the immutable X of Avalanche. If you look at some of the updates happening there, plenty of games launching on Build on Beam. All right, so here's Merit Circle kind of breaking out a little bit. And again, this is more of the move to earn component of what is happening with Merit Circle. Here's kind of a layup on where things and what things are happening across all the subnets here on Avalanche. So you can see a little bit of growth here. But I think the key here, again, a lot of this is not yet launched. Matter of fact, none of this is launched yet. So this is really just transactions that are happening mostly from testing, players, games, etc., that are really kind of getting into it. As this starts to roll out, though, this, I think, when you look at the emergence of the connections, the partnerships, what they're doing with the ecosystem, and also the demographic that they're trying to hit, Avalanche is really set for a very interesting time. All right, so this was a recent survey they did on on-chain cash management. Takeaways from that, basically talking about where tokenization would be, and the key things that they asked was that respondents in Asia, in particular, are eager to access the UST yields on-chain, largely because they might not have access to these things otherwise. So this gets into the securitization side of things and how maybe Avalanche will be a big part of this. Now, if you look at real-world assets as an example, these are tokenized treasuries, and some of the things that are happening within them, we'll get into a component here, and you can see the growth there. But of course, the directory right here, if you start to looking at some of the ones that have been rolled out, here is Avalanche right there with AmFi. Avalanche, you see some others in there, obviously Ethereum. Now, what does this really mean for Avalanche as a whole? The point is that they've got a lot of oars in the water. They've got a lot of things happening in the gaming sector. They're starting to build in other sectors of not only blockchain, but also digital assets in general. And I think that is going to be the difference that they make in the business. And that is they're going to be able to apply to a lot of different, industries and also use cases and utility. And we've talked about this with John Wood before, is this whole bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. It's going to take some time. And the companies that are able to kind of connect the dots between the two are the ones that are going to be very successful. So this is why we're continuing to follow this one very closely. Of course, we'd love to get your input. If you've got some ideas or you got projects out there you've seen run on Avalanche, or you like a game, or you see some developers starting to go in a certain direction, drop some comments down below. We always love to get those kinds of feedback. Of course, if you're not in the Diamond Circle, make sure and get in on that. It's really easy. It's additional content. We drop some additional research over there, additional podcasts, not available here on YouTube. Very easy. Just click the link down below to join there. And of course, if you want to catch me out there on Twitter, @Paul Barron. We'll see you next time right here on TechPath.